Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom, is one of the most captivating villains in Marvel Comics, a disfigured man housed within a menacing armor made of titanium alloy, which essentially cauterized the emotional wounds left by an immensely tragic loss he suffered as a young boy. His armor is a representation of the thickened skin and emotional toughness he has built and shaped for himself over time. Elements of Doctor Doom's origin mirror those of Doctor Stephen Strange. Both men had something irreplaceable taken away from them, and their immeasurable wills would lead them on a journey across the world to the Himalayan mountains in Tibet in search of magic, capable of getting those irreplaceable things back. In the case of Strange, it was to confront the powerful sorcerer known as the Ancient One, to repair his damaged hands, which forced him out of his career as a surgeon following a car accident. With Doom, he had met an order of holy monks on his path to expand his arcane knowledge in order to become powerful enough in the mystic arts to rescue the soul of his mother and earn her redemption. Victor had been born in a Romani camp outside Hasenstadt, Latveria. The baron who ruled the country persecuted and oppressed the Romani people there, forcing them to become drifters. Victor's mother Cynthia, who he had always had a strong bond with, studied the dark arts against the wishes of her husband. She did this to improve the lives of her family, and more specifically, her son. One night, Cynthia had drawn from occult forces too strong for her to control. She knocked on a few doors she shouldn't have, and something truly wicked answered. Cynthia would end up making a deal with the demon Mephisto, who fed her temptation, giving her the power to destroy all of the Baron's soldiers within their Latverian village. However, it came at a price. Cynthia was not in control of this power, and in her assault against the soldiers would inadvertently kill all of the innocent children in the village as well. When the power left her body, the surviving villagers, viewing Cynthia as a monster and a witch, chased her into the woods and killed her. Sometime later, Victor would find his mother's trunk of arcana, as well as her diary, which were full of various spells and magical items. Victor would become fascinated with sorcery and studied as much magic as he could from them. When he grew older, he also became intrigued by the subjects of science and technology and received a scholarship at Empire State University in North America to pursue them. While there, Victor was determined to combine both magic and science in the hopes of saving his mother and redeeming her soul. He would build a device with the aid of Reed Richards to contact his mother in the netherworld, but his miscalculations would result in the disfigurement of his face. Fast forward to when Victor became Doctor Doom. He would use his knowledge in magic and technology to travel through time and learn spells from the strongest mystics throughout history, and every year he would use his accumulated power to battle the forces of the netherworld in an attempt to rescue his mother. But every year, each of his attempts against Mephisto would result in failure. That is, until he received the aid of one of Earth's most gifted magic users, Doctor Strange, the master of the mystic arts. It occurred within the 1989 story titled Triumph and Torment, written by Roger Stern, with pencils by Mike Mignola of Hellboy fame. Triumph and Torment is quite moving. It's one of the best examples showing the selflessness of Stephen Strange and the shrouded compassion of Victor Von Doom, an aspect of him very few have really seen, especially his enemies, because at his core, inside his cold and black-hearted exterior, Von Doom has a burning love for his mother that cannot be extinguished. It's admirable, noble. He is willing to sacrifice anything and everything to free her immortal soul from the clutches of Mephisto, something that will be quite evident soon. Triumph and Torment begins with the oldest living sorcerer on Earth, named the Aged Genghis, sending a message out to all of the other sorcerers to meet him at the Temple of Three, deep within the jungles of Southeast Asia, to settle a question of power, as he puts it. At the temple the following day, all of Earth's sorcerers gather, many of which speak highly of Doctor Strange and respect him a great deal. Doctor Doom arrives in an aircraft, fashionably late, and silence fills the room. The Aged Genghis explains to all those in attendance that he transmits his message to the most powerful mystics on Earth once every 100 years. The purpose of the message is to gather them at the temple so they can compete against each other for the title of Earth's Sorcerer Supreme. The Aged Genghis has lived for centuries because his body is temporarily inhabited by the spirits of the Vishanti during this contest. One of the mystics believes Doctor Doom should not be allowed to compete due to his so-called technological edge he has over the rest of them. Doom admits he may not be as experienced in magic as some of the others, but decides to remove his gauntlets, which shut down his suit's weapon and armor systems. I get that some of his tech would enhance the spells he uses, but surely there is magic that would make his devices seem irrelevant, no? I doubt they would factor that heavily in the grand scheme of things. Anyways, the Vishanti begin their challenge for the mystics by cocooning the Aged Genghis inside of a giant, green, crystalline structure. The mystic that frees him from its magic will become Sorcerer Supreme. All of the mystics begin attacking the crystal, which begins acting like the magic cylinder trap card from Yu-Gi-Oh!, redirecting their magic back at them and turning those hit with the blasts into entranced zombies, which start attacking the others. All of the mystics become entranced except for Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom. Doom attacks Strange using the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, so he alone can destroy the crystal, but Strange reflects the spell back at him and traps him. Using his wit, Strange determines that the best way to approach the crystal is to use his astral form, and he then breaks it open using his Eye of Agamotto, tuning its magic so as not to have it reflected by the Vishanti it gets its name from. Doctor Strange manages to free the Aged Genghis from the crystal and is deemed Sorcerer Supreme by the Vishanti, who praise him for his calmness and caution instead of simply resorting to brute force like the others. The Vishanti then go on to explain that it is custom that the Sorcerer Supreme fulfill the request of any mystic who avoided the power of the crystal. I guess it acts as a consolation prize for the runner-ups. How thoughtful of them. Doctor Doom was the only one aside from Strange who avoided the blasts, so he must have his request granted. Strange is reluctant to do so, though, fearing he will just ask for power and conquest. But, to his surprise, Doom, showing a softer side of himself, asks for Strange's help in freeing his mother's soul from the demon that took it. Strange, a man of his word, accepts and will do everything in his power to rescue her. Victor takes Strange to the Latverian capital of Doomstadt. While he may be viewed as a threat to the rest of the world, he is beloved by his people, treated like a god, and uses his gifts to better them and their country. All he asks is for their complete obedience in return. His compassion in this regard is a trait he got from his mother, who put her family and her people above all else. When they reach Castle Doom, which looks like something Dracula would find cozy, Doom speaks of his mother Cynthia, telling Strange she had died when he was only an infant, and that all he knows of her is what is written within her diary, and the stories told to him by his father and by his servant Boris. How heart-wrenching. When Strange asks Doom why he hadn't come for his help sooner, Doom tells him he does not beg. Over the next several weeks, Strange heightens Doom's skills in the mystic arts, but becomes worried how he will use them in the future. At night, when Doom is alone in the depths of his castle, he boosts his armor's technological capabilities, wanting to achieve an advantage and surpass Strange, if possible. When both men feel ready to face Mephisto, they combine their magic to open up a portal to his realm, fighting hordes and hordes of demons when they arrive. Eventually, Mephisto manifests himself before them, and Doctor Doom orders that he face them in battle for the freedom of his mother's soul. Mephisto balks at this demand, laughing maniacally, before opening a pit to the abyss beneath their feet that they fall into. Thankfully, Doom and Strange are able to climb out of it, but when they return to the surface, they find that the entire landscape has been altered, and are attacked by a murder of carrion crows, as Mephisto watches on, toying with his prey. Mephisto then creates a powerful and deadly sandstorm, which separates Strange and Doom. Strange is manipulated by one of Mephisto's underlings, who creates an illusion and makes Strange relive the traumatic events of his past, the car crash, the loss of his hands, and the selfish and hurtful behavior he exhibited to others. With the help of his armor, Doom manages to navigate through the sandstorm and reaches Mephisto on his throne. The demon teases Victor with the soul of his mother, offering it to him, but only for a price. We learn that price when Doctor Strange is able to escape the sandstorm, finds the body of Doom, and is incapacitated when he attempts to touch Doom's armor. Victor, of course, was playing possum. Strange is brought to Mephisto and is imprisoned within a crystal. As reward, Cynthia'S soul is released and given human form, with Victor lovingly embracing her after so long. However, Cynthia learns of Victor's bargain with Mephisto and is disgraced by him for essentially forfeiting his own soul to the demon, much like she had done so many years ago. Cynthia calls her son a traitor and renounces her love for him as her body solidifies. I can't put into words how crushing this is for Victor to hear. It devastates him. Doctor Strange breaks free of the crystal, using a device planted on him by Doom, revealing that Victor had been playing Mephisto as well, and the two sorcerers begin attacking the all-powerful demon. Strange and Doom throw every magic spell they have at him, but Mephisto shrugs it off, becoming angered and annoyed more than anything. When Mephisto retaliates, Strange redirects his attack at Cynthia'S effigy, which breaks it open, and her soul is able to ascend to heaven. Her decision to not go with her son and force him to stay and save Strange redeemed her. She ended up redeeming herself. Furious that he lost the soul of Cynthia, Mephisto attempts to kill Strange and Doom, but Strange tells him that if they die, he will lose their souls as well. At that point, frustrated and defeated, Mephisto banishes them from his realm, and they return to Castle Doom. The story ends with Strange and Doom discussing what had just transpired before parting ways. They succeeded in their mission. Cynthia'S soul reached heaven, but it was at the cost of her love for her son, a truth Victor will have to painfully accept for the rest of his days. Now, the comic doesn't explore this, but I always wondered what Cynthia would think of the type of man Victor had become, the type of ruler he had become, outside the confines of what had happened in this story. I wouldn't say Cynthia herself is a saint necessarily, but she clearly values innocent life, both the children she inadvertently murdered when under the influence of Mephisto, as well as Doctor Strange at the end of the story. I wonder how she would react to Doom's other villainous endeavors outside of Latveria, the ones that have negatively impacted the rest of the world in some way. Would she be ashamed just like she was with him in this story? Would she compare him to the evil Baron from years long ago? It's interesting to think about. Like I had mentioned at the start of this video, Doctor Doom is one of the most fascinating villains in all of Marvel. In fact, he's one of my favorite villains in all of comics, period. He's a broken man, held together with a suit of armor, locked inside with his own personal demons. He's void of any and all emotion except for those that pertain to his mother and to his people. He lives in a dark and foreboding castle on a hill, and despite his wealth, his knowledge, and his impressive abilities, Victor Von Doom is completely alone. His life is that of a Greek tragedy. This has been NerdGasm. I want to thank you for watching my review of Triumph and Torment. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the story and on the character of Doctor Doom down in the comment section below. If you'd like to support the channel and its content, you can do so by subscribing, hitting that bell icon to be notified of future videos, and become a producer for my content over on patreon.com if you can. I will see you all in the next one. Take care, stay safe, and always stay nerdy.